If you're looking to buy a 70 to 200mm f2.8, you'd probably look at one of these. Canon 70 to 200mm f2.8 II. It's incredibly tough to beat. Solid like a tank and solid performance too. This is a hugely reliable workhorse of a lens used by professionals, photojournalists, and of course amateurs. But what if you could get as good performance and image quality for much less? Maybe something like this, the Tamron 70 to 200mm f2.8. You've got to love Tamron. I mean, they make excellent quality optics. It's just that everything looks a little bit 80s, incredibly utilitarian. 80s, kind of like these buildings in front of me. I'm going to take photos of these public housing estates in an abstract way, making them into grid-like patterns. The Tamron is $700 cheaper than the Canon. That's quite a fair bit of green, but is the Tamron considered a good alternative? I may laugh at the design, and it is pretty funny. Just look at it. The grip on that is different to that. And the switches look incredibly tacky. But the fact is, it's actually pretty solid. Build quality wise, can't knock it. Although this has taken a bit of a knock earlier. It was dropped earlier. You can see the scratches to prove it. And it's still working like a trooper. But this is all metal too, and is weather sealed, just like the Canon. But just how good is the Tamron compared to the Canon? Let's check it out. Both lenses have got IS. The Canon's is called IS, image stabilization, whereas the Tamron goes for a funny name, vibration compensation, to compensate your vibrations. But they've also got some funnier names. It's a DI USD. The DI stands for digitally integrated. How futuristic is that? Is your lens digitally integrated? Yes it is. I've got a Tamron DI USD VC. What does USD stand for? No, it's not US dollar. It's ultrasonic silent drive. That should be USSD, isn't it? Still, let's not complain. Even if the naming is a little bit outdated in the style, it's not outdated in terms of specs. But how does this compare with the Canon IS? So what have we got here? 4 stops of stabilization, a switch for stabilizing off or on, and 2 stabilizer modes. 1 for normal, number 2 is for panning. Anyway, despite the odd naming conventions, the Tamron just works, and as good as the Canon. Handheld shots at 15 frames a second, not a problem. Another thing worth knowing is that with the Canon, it goes from wide to tele. It's the other way with the Tamron. Oh, you Nikon fanboys. And the focus ring is here, and the zoom ring here. Switched with the Canon. Boring fact of the day. Next, the autofocus test. How fast is the autofocus? Step 1, focus on something really close. Step 2, focus on subject who happens to be an old age pensioner. Step 3, get 1 shot in focus, in time, before they can find us out and run after us, calling us dirty pervert. There's a kids' playground over there. We thought about a paedophile autofocus test, but we thought that was a little bit too wrong. So, hence, old person test. Okay, ready? Next up, the Tamron. The focus closing distance of the Canon is 1.2 meters. This, 1.3 meters. Let's get this shot before that old guy comes in. Oh, that's pretty quick. But it seems like just at the end it has to focus just a little bit more. It kind of stops and then focuses the last bit. With the Tamron doing that little indecisive bit of last split second focusing, the Canon has the edge when it comes to autofocusing. Love these buildings. This is Hong Kong. Not those modern things, not the Victoria Harbour, not the glass buildings, big penis-shaped buildings. It's fantastic. You really can't knock the Tamron in terms of performance, apart from that little kind of, yeah, I'm focusing. It works just as good as the Canon, more or less. Oh, but this does feel faster. I take it back. This is immense. Forget what I just said in the last minute. This is much better. First impressions, the Tamron renders the colours in a different way to the Canon and appears to shoot a very slight bit brighter. When it comes to vignetting and distortion, again there isn't much difference. The Tamron vignette's a little more wide open, but the Canon has a little more barrel distortion at the widest. Both lenses have a normal mid-range and equal amounts of slight pincushion at 200mm. For wide open sharpness, the Canon has better centre and corner sharpness. Better, but not by much. Again, notice the difference in colour rendition. Throughout the range, the Canon is only a touch better than the Tamron. I don't think you will feel shortchanged with the Tamron. So why do you buy Canon? Because of image quality, other than the fact that it's white and it's got a red ring. Image quality is really good, especially with the 2 version. Get out of the way, strap. You know, people do tend to say you get what you pay for, and if the theory is correct, then the Tamron should be worse. But that's probably just what rich bastards say. Smug. This is brilliant. It's like, yeah, you're definitely not going to get through here with your cycle. Oh no. Oh shit, I've just gone through here, didn't I? Bang. Look at that. Oh. It was for some very skilled footballers. It's like, no. The Canon 70 to 200mm f2.8 L2 showed some really good improvements over the first version. It's a well-corrected lens. Barely any colour fringing when I last tested it. When the IS is on and you're looking through the viewfinder, it is much smoother with the Canon. The Tamron seems a little bit twitchy, which is a bit unnerving when you're looking through this peephole and it keeps twitching. Twitchy arse syndrome. Every time I come here I feel like breaking out in a rap. Traumatised by that event. Do you know you can actually get our song on Spotify? We're better than Taylor Swift. She doesn't have her songs on Spotify. So if you're crazy enough to listen to our shit, you can, it's on Spotify. Now, although it's not as smooth as the Canon, I do like this lens, the Tamron. It's sort of like the buildings around here. It's got this 80s charm. A bit old-fashioned, a bit crumbly, not quite so smooth, not quite so pristine, maybe not des-res, but there's something likeable about it. And perhaps I wouldn't own one, but there you go. Still likeable all the same. So yes, breaking news, Kai likes a Tamron, but there is one more test to see if I really do like the Tamron. No, it's not a drop test. It's the bokeh test. Nothing to focus on in the foreground. Doesn't matter. Have a load of that. You like bokeh? Have 100% bokeh. In terms of bokeh, Well, it's all subjective, isn't it? So what I can tell you is that the Canon is subjectively better. The background bits in the Canon images melt away, just like the $700 extra you have to shell out on this lens. For sure, if you want the best overall lens, go for the Canon. It is the complete package of sharpness, performance and bulkalicious. But what a Tamron represents is nothing to be ashamed of. It has 95% of what the Canon has to offer, for 1/3 of the price less of the Canon, which sort of sounds sensible. But lens choices aren't always about being sensible.